This is Story Recapped. Today I'm going to explain a drama, horror, and music film called The Perfection. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. In a room, Charlotte Wilmer stares at the lifeless eyes of her terminally ill mother. Outside are two women praising Charlotte for taking care of her mother. The two women pity Charlotte because she sacrificed so much, including her once thriving music career that has been neglected for far too long. But now that her mother has finally bitten the dust, she can finally return to her dream. In Shanghai, Charlotte plans to reconnect with her mentor, Anton, and his wife, Paloma. They run the Backoff Music Academy, and they're in Shanghai to select a young and talented cellist to attend their school. On a building is an ad for Elizabeth Wells, or Lizzie. She's the best cellist in the world, Anton's prodigy, and the one who replaced Charlotte when she left. In the Shanghai Opera House, a formally dressed Charlotte is met with warm smiles and hugs from Anton and Paloma. Anton announces the long-awaited scholarship selection. He introduces the judges. One of them is Lizzie, who Anton showers with compliments, and the other is Charlotte. Later that night, Paloma reintroduces Charlotte to her old teachers, Thace and Joffrey. Anton pulls Charlotte aside and brings her to meet Lizzie. He beams with joy as his two best students reunite. As Anton leaves, Charlotte fangirls over Lizzie, but Lizzie doesn't want to treat Charlotte like a fan because she was once her idol and hero. This display of humility reduces the inferiority Charlotte is feeling. The performance begins and everyone listens intently. Lizzie whispers to Charlotte that the girl on the left is clearly the superior out of the three. Charlotte agrees, but she wants to build drama and suspense before revealing the winner. To satisfy Charlotte's desire for drama, Lizzie points out the affair between the girls' parents. They find it repulsive but extremely sensual at the same time. As they observe the two build tension, they also do the same for themselves. This becomes more obvious when Lizzie whispers to Charlotte that she's aroused. After the show, Charlotte sees Lizzie alone. She notices a music note tattoo on her back before she approaches her. They reminisce about the time they first met. Charlotte was leaving to take care of her mother, and Lizzie was new in Backoff. Lizzie then asks Charlotte if she still plays the cello. Charlotte plays, and she enjoys it even more now because she's only playing for herself. Since Lizzie relates to the same feeling of overwhelming pressure, Charlotte asks if Lizzie wants to leave Backoff. Lizzie doesn't see herself leaving and expresses her loyalty to the institution. Then she shares her plans to have a well-deserved vacation starting tomorrow. After a while, Lizzie and Charlotte walk down the steps. They encounter a man who drops his glass. His nose starts bleeding and he pukes. Lizzie then overhears a woman talking about a disease spreading in Hunan, China. This worries Lizzie because they just finished scouting in Hunan since Anton likes traveling to remote places to find his prodigies. To help them forget what happened, Lizzie invites Charlotte to dance. Paloma interrupts them and brings them to Anton. He asks Lizzie to play a piece for the audience. She accepts on the condition that Charlotte plays with her. Charlotte reluctantly agrees. Before the performance, the two are met with applause. They look at one another and begin playing. The audience can't help but nod and smile at the clashing and complimenting music. After the performance, Lizzie takes Charlotte by hand and they run to a secluded corridor. Charlotte leans in for a steamy kiss. They dance at a party, and with every touch, their desire for each other grows. Like with their beloved cellos, they handle each other's curves at precisely the right spot and play strings exactly at the right moment, and the night ends with their harmonizing moans. Afterwards, Charlotte reveals that Lizzie is her first. Lizzie kisses Charlotte's body as she gets out of bed. She invites Charlotte to a vacation. Lizzie plans to go out west to unplug from everything and everyone. They make a toast to the amazing night and more of it to come. On Charlotte's back is the same tattoo Lizzie has. Morning arrives and they are both hungover, which they cure with Chinese medicine. Before they start their journey, they grab a bite at the local shop. Despite her sick state, Lizzie powers through and they ride the bus. She downs a bottle of water, but her mouth still feels dry. Lizzie takes a handful of ibuprofen, and Charlotte's starting to think that Lizzie might have more than a hangover. As the bus rides out of the city, Lizzie wakes up and tells Charlotte she needs to use the bathroom. Lizzie is feeling even worse, so she pleads for Charlotte to make the bus stop. However, she doesn't know how to speak Mandarin. Charlotte stands up and asks for help. A man understands a bit of English and he asks the bus driver to stop. An emotional Lizzie begins to vomit, and with some screaming and swearing, they convince the driver to stop. With every step, the risk of defecating right then and there increases. Luckily, Lizzie holds it in just until she releases it on the side of the road. The vomiting doesn't stop, and Lizzie grows more hysterical. Charlotte puts on a brave face and tells Lizzie that she'll be okay. Finally, they return to the bus, and Lizzie apologizes to the passengers. A woman hands her a mask. Charlotte asks the man if there's a hospital nearby, and he replies that the nearest one is still miles away. Lizzie cries again and she describes what she's feeling. Her brain is on fire and it won't stop. Charlotte starts a game where they list composers in alphabetical order. The game helps for a while, but the urge to puke returns. Lizzie vomits on the window, and there Charlotte sees bug-infested barf. This makes Lizzie more paranoid. She thinks the man at the party got her sick and that she may have passed it to Charlotte. Charlotte assures her that everything's going to be okay, and this frustrates Lizzie even more. Her shouting stops when she shifts her focus onto her arm. Lizzie scratches her arm as if she feels maggots crawling underneath her skin. The other passengers and the driver shouts for them to get off the bus. Meanwhile, Lizzie bangs her head on the window. The glass breaks and the bus stops. The driver approaches them and pulls Lizzie outside. The man points to a town nearby, and the driver dumps their belongings on the road. After some walking, Lizzie asks Charlotte to leave her behind. She believes she's dying. Suddenly, something starts moving inside Lizzie's arms. Bugs are crawling, and this makes Lizzie puke, and the vomit nests more bugs. Charlotte can't approach, so she shouts at Lizzie to try to get the bugs out. She reveals a cleaver, and Lizzie uses this to chop off her hand. A few hours ago, in the hotel room, Charlotte had with her a hallucinogenic drug, whose effects were strengthened with alcohol. At the shop they ate at, Charlotte had her eye on a cleaver, and on the bus, the ibuprofen she gave Lizzie was the drug she had. Charlotte also researched how to do an improvised tourniquet on her phone. Then, Charlotte shouted that there were bugs in the vomit even though there weren't. She made Lizzie think that bugs were crawling out of her arm. All this to make Lizzie chop off her hand. 3 weeks later, in the Backoff Academy, Paloma welcomes the selected performer at her new home. They meet with Anton and he instructs the student to sing a note. The acoustics in the room amplify her voice. Anton reveals that only a few have played in that room, 2 of them being Charlotte and Lizzie. He inspires the student to follow in their footsteps. The student says goodbye to her parents, and night arrives. A ring from the doorbell wakes Anton up. He goes outside to see a woman by the gate. It's Lizzie with an amputated hand. Anton sees this, and he shouts in dismay. Inside, Lizzie recollects how the police found her in the mountains with only a tourniquet keeping her alive. She couldn't have reported Charlotte because she drank the pills and cut her hand on her own accord. Lizzie believes Charlotte's jealousy pushed her to destroy Lizzie's life, which should have been hers in the first place. The following day, Lizzie zones out as she remembers the day she amputated herself. The screams of pain and horror echo in her head. She walks down to hear Anton's student playing. He invites her to talk after the practice. Lizzie is told that she's being kicked out. Anton and Paloma are willing to pay her lodging and medical expenses until she can get back on her own feet. Lizzie shows her desperation and pleads for them to not kick her out. Her cries don't reach the couple because without her talent, she's nothing to them. Down the hallway, Lizzie looks at Anton's past protégés. When she sees Charlotte's picture, she punches the frame out of anger. In Minneapolis, Charlotte is alone at her home. When she slices tomatoes, a faint noise outside distracts her. Charlotte looks out the window and sees no one. Suddenly, she hears a creaking noise. Charlotte calls out as she walks down a dark corridor. She turns on the lights and opens an empty room. Charlotte turns off the lights, and behind her, Lizzie appears with a taser. Charlotte hits the wall and falls to the floor. Lizzie then kicks her repeatedly while swearing and expressing her pent-up thirst for revenge. Sometime after, Anton jams to classical music as he and Paloma drive home. In front of their gate is Lizzie, who blocks their path. He exits the car and tries to reason out with her. Lizzie brings Charlotte with her in hopes of getting back into Backoff. They open the trunk, and Anton looks at Lizzie with frightened eyes. Inside, Charlotte is alive and well, and Anton accompanies her. She explains why she tricked Lizzie. Charlotte was trying to save her. When she saw her tattoo, she knew that Lizzie was brainwashed just like her. It took years for Charlotte to realize this. After countless trips to the mental hospital and a few sessions of electrotherapy, she was finally free from Anton's manipulation. Then, Charlotte reached out to them to free Lizzie. Anton is dumbfounded by her accusations, but quickly shows his true colors. During a practice session, a young Charlotte stopped playing because she made a mistake. This disappointed Anton, and he scolded her. Thais and Joffrey entered the room to watch Charlotte. Anton didn't tolerate mistakes in the perfect room. He ingrained into Charlotte's mind that under no circumstances shall he discredit Backoff. Failure is a grave mistake that calls upon an unjust consequence. The tattoo symbolizes that a student is ready to play in the perfect room, and everyone that held that tattoo went through unspeakable experiences. They were tasked to achieve the perfection, the highest quality of performing Anton expected of his students. Every time Charlotte made a mistake, Anton and the teachers violated her. Back in the present, Anton drags a tied-up Charlotte to the perfect room. As they approach the bar, she breaks free and hits Anton and Lizzie, but Anton catches up to her and knocks her out cold. In the perfect room, Charlotte wakes up. She finally gets the chance to play for them again. Thais, Joffrey, and Paloma enter the room, and at front is Lizzie. Anton expects the perfection from Charlotte. He believes that what he did to her and Lizzie is necessary for their growth. Lizzie agrees and even considers the horrors they did as a gift. Anton commands Lizzie to prepare a drink for the audience. As she hands the drinks out, Anton informs Charlotte of the final test. If Charlotte achieves the perfection, she is free. However, a single mistake or a minor misplay of a note will result in both Charlotte and the new students suffering. The child sits in front, and the fear in Charlotte's eyes contrasts the student's innocence. With the stakes known, Charlotte readies her cello and bow and prepares to play for her freedom and the girl's purity. The playing begins and Charlotte starts strong, hitting every note to Anton's satisfaction. The music intensifies and the student watches in awe, completely unaware of the danger. But when Anton places his hand onto the child, Charlotte stops playing. The audience is in dismay and Anton is frustrated. The student claps because her untrained ear couldn't detect Charlotte's minuscule mistake. Charlotte whimpers in fear, not for herself, but for the child. Fortunately, Anton orders Paloma to bring her upstairs. Anton assures Charlotte that he wouldn't lay a hand on the child until she's ready and has the tattoo. He won't just touch a child without proper preparations. He's not that barbaric. Anton leaves and asks Theus and Joffrey to fetch him when Charlotte stops resisting. The two walk to the stage, but Lizzie stops them because she wants to punish Charlotte first. Lizzie plans to bury her amputated hand in Charlotte instead. The teachers force open Charlotte's leg and Lizzie enters. Suddenly, Theus and Joffrey start choking. They fall to the floor where they lie dead from poison. Charlotte looks up at Lizzie, they both smile, and they share a passionate kiss. On the day Lizzie broke into Charlotte's home, she realized Charlotte was right. They talked about the fateful day in China. Lizzie cried at the sight of what she had just did, and Charlotte revealed that she tricked Lizzie to save her. At first, Lizzie was hysterical and couldn't understand Charlotte's reasoning. Charlotte tried to explain that Anton didn't care about Lizzie. He was corrupting innocent young girls and would disguise his disgusting urges as teachings. Back at home, she apologized to Lizzie. Lizzie opened up about the vision she was having of Anton and the other teachers violating her. Her hand was cut, along with a blindfold she wore that stopped her from seeing the truth. Then and there, they planned to stop Anton. In the present, Charlotte has broken free. Meanwhile, Anton is in the office, waiting for his turn. Paloma enters the room, and Anton sees blood dripping. Charlotte and Lizzie appear. Lizzie pushes Paloma to reveal a knife stuck in her back. With a cleaver in Lizzie's hand, Anton has nowhere else to go. He tries to make them turn against each other, but they have had enough of his manipulation. Lizzie attacks Anton with the blade, and blood splatters on Charlotte's face. Charlotte then stabs Anton. He overpowers them, and Charlotte falls to the floor, disoriented. But then she snaps out of her shock and climbs onto Anton. He manages to get a hand on the knife and pierces Charlotte's arm. Behind them is Lizzie, who knocks Anton out. With a metal bar, she bashes Anton repeatedly. They get their revenge for what Anton did to them and the other girls before them, ending with an intense crescendo and a satisfying conclusion. After some time, Lizzie and Charlotte are dressed up to perform in the Perfect Room. Their audience is a limbless Anton. Lizzie and Charlotte cut off his limbs to deprive him of what he loved the most, performing music and touching underage girls. They play it together, achieving their own version of the perfection. Back Off and its horrifying history finally come to a close. With this, no more students have to go through the same trauma and suffering Lizzie and Charlotte experienced. The cello won't be a source of fear and pressure anymore. It returns to being an instrument of passion and expression like it once was.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.